Hello, everyone. Today I wanted to go over some of the primary narratives that are going to be driving the majority of adoption and price appreciation as we go into this final euphoria of the crypto bull cycle. It's finally here. This video will not be going over the micro niche stuff, the meme coins, the highly speculative plays. I'll do another video on that later this week, not next month, not several weeks from now. I'm getting the reps in. Today, I'm going to be focusing on the big institutional moves because that's what's driving crypto this cycle, in case you haven't noticed. In the previous cycle, we were going through a completely different economic climate. There was COVID, there were stimulus checks, which equated to a lot of gambling, essentially, through meme coins, NFTs, etc. That still exists today, but it's a much smaller percentage. We're going to be looking at, since those aren't what is driving the cycle this time, we're going to be focusing on what is driving it the cycle this time around, and that's institutional adoption. We've been talking about this for years in the industry, on crypto Twitter. For those who are native to the industry, I know you remember the tweets, the threads of, to bring institutional adoption, we're going to need maturing and better user interfaces and all that stuff. Well, it's here, and BlackRock has entered the chat. The White House has entered the chat, and all these other big institutions are here investing and building on crypto. So we're going to be talking about real world assets, the surge of Solana as a Ethereum killer, and banks offering crypto exchange traded funds or ETFs that will appeal to your boomer parents. Article on Yahoo Finance, we see that BlackRock plans a $2 trillion real world asset boom with the tokenization of ETFs. ETFs are exchange traded funds. And why that is important is because it's a 2 trillion market just for the tokenization of ETFs. If we look at coin market cap here, we'll see that the market cap of Bitcoin alone is 2 trillion. BlackRock wants to bring 2 trillion worth of real world assets essentially onto blockchain. Now, when we speak to real world assets or RWAs, the primary, what's the word, speculative play is Ondo. Let me see if I can pull that up. So we have Ondo listed here, and we see that the current market cap or total money invested is $3 billion. That article stated that RWA industry is expected to reach 2 trillion. 2 trillion divided by 3 billion is somewhere around 600 and change. So that's a 600x return on investment. But before you go dumping your life savings into this project, which you should never do, not financial advice, etc., I wanted to bring up this article posted by Business Wire. It speaks to, and this was published February 6th, way earlier this year. Ondo Finance, a leader in blockchain-based financial innovation, today unveiled a suite of infrastructure products designed to bring capital markets on chain, bringing the transparency, efficiency, and accessibility enabled by blockchain technology to key term institutional grade finance. Now, if we scroll down, it'll speak to it further. At launch, global markets will offer tokenized exposure to many of the most widely traded stocks, such as Apple and Tesla, and a variety of popular ETFs and mutual funds from leading asset managers such as Fidelity and BlackRock. And I don't know about the rest of you, but many older individuals, namely my parents that I would speak to about investing in crypto, the primary argument was, well, when my bank offers an investment option, then I'll buy. That completely negates the purpose of buying crypto in order to have ownership of the digital asset themselves rather than a bank owned product, but they feel safer about it. They have a lower risk tolerance. I get it. If we go back to CoinMarketCap and speak to or locate Ondo, that speaks to its investment speculation. I find this far better. Well, let's take a look at the circulating supply, because unlock market cap, holders, total supply 10 billion, max supply. I'll need to look into that because I'm not sure what the max supply is, and that's my main argument against XRP. I did a whole video on it. on why I don't like XRP, because they have a lot of outstanding. Um, the total supply versus circulating supply is just nasty. They can release, there's 40 billion outstanding supply that they can release onto the market to suppress price, but I won't get into that. You can go watch that video if you're interested. But long story, slightly longer, that is the investment thesis or speculation on Ondo that I keep losing its location for. Um, the fact that they're looking to build an entire tokenized infrastructure of ETFs, stocks, etc., onto the Ondo blockchain. And honestly, I think it's solid for a longer term hold if you're looking to diversify. I would like to speak to Solana, but I would first like to start with where Solana has come since Sam Bankman Fried and FTX screwed the whole market last cycle. For those who are around, they remember the fear, the sheer fear in the market, in the doom and gloom in the market when it crashed. November 2022. As evidence of potential fraud began to surface, depositors quickly withdrew their assets from FTX, forcing the company into bankruptcy. This company had, I think they owned the Miami stadium, football stadium. I don't know. But if we go over to Solana and look at the market and the timeline, I have it open up to all. This goes back to 2020. The crash happened November 2022. Peak fear, peak doom and gloom. Price reached a low of essentially right around $10. Since then, the price has gone up 20x to over $200. And I attributed that to a number of things, primarily the branding and the commitment of the dev team. It's a completely different environment than Ethereum. So just a cursory glance. The question, what is Solana? A fast, low cost network for digital assets. I just spoke earlier to how institutionals rebranding of crypto to digital assets to make it sound more official. Solana's already there. They're already way ahead of the game. And you see here they're powering Circle, which is the primary stable coin, Discord, Google, Meta, Shopify, Stripe. Big institutional players are here. And the thing I like most about Solana is there is their decentralized app store that is integrated into their mobile phone. There is no other blockchain phone that I know of that is available. But what makes it unique is in the last cycle, you would have your phone, you would go to Uniswap or some other decentralized exchange, and they weren't made for mobile phones. Again, developers are just we're just trying to get user interfaces to be adaptable, and most of the developers made them for web browsers. What's unique about the Seeker is the entire dApp store is built around an experience that is easy for phone users. Your mobile wallet and all of your digital assets are built into the phone. They connect and they integrate with the apps in the dApp store that are built directly onto Solana's chain, excuse me. So there isn't that awkward friction that you experience trying to use the web browser to connect to a blockchain, and it was a mess. I'm still poking around with it now and getting used to it. But right now, my personal use case is just doing buys and sells and swaps. I'm not getting too sexy with any gaming or anything like that. But the fact that this is here and they're building on it is very, very exciting. You have other Ethereum quote unquote killers out there: Avalanche, Cosmos. What are some other major ones? They escape me, right? Phantom. And they're good, they're established, they're fast, they're quick, and all of that. But I think Solana is the most cohesive. And when you pair that with the fact that they're in the US digital assets reserve, so long term investment strategy, plus how clean and how usable the interface is, I'm just very, 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 very bullish on Solana. And I say that wholeheartedly, being a previous Solana hater in previous cycles. I think everyone has gone through that XRP phase, then they go through their Ethereum maxi phase, and then it's the omni-chain phase where you understand that there will be no one chain that rules them all. People will just gravitate towards whichever user experience is easiest, and right now that is Solana, and I'm really excited about what they build on this. The last narrative I want to speak to is crypto ETFs, or exchange traded funds. These are a unique asset class that is going to drive a lot of money into the market, but not directly. Primarily because not all of them are spot ETFs. A spot ETF is an ETF that directly buys the underlying digital asset directly and then represents it as an ETF for clients of the banking system to purchase from them. Some of them are a little bit more exotic, they're speculative in nature, but I just wanted to look at some of them and see what is driving adoption. Let's click at US News Money's 7 best crypto ETFs to buy. What do we have? I wanted to look at the market value. For the sake of simplification, just interpret market value as market cap, or also known as total invested money. So you have the iShares Bitcoin Trust ETF, the iShares Ethereum Trust ETF, Global X Blockchain ETF. And look at some of the numbers: $85 billion, $15 billion, $800 million. These aren't small investment amounts. And if I go to, do I have CoinMarketCap pulled up? No, I'll pull it up. But let's just take the top three: 85 billion, 15 billion, and 817 million. The front page of market cap, of coin market cap, the lowest entry is 800 million. So if you just want to visualize this in your brain, the third highest ETF already would be on the front page of coin market cap. What I find hilarious is a meme, the Solana meme, dog with hat has more invested money than the third largest crypto ETF, which is a little funny to me. But some of the other ones were, what was that? Wait, let me go back. 85 billion and 15 billion. 85 billion. Which one? What asset is 85 billion is comparable? Actually, there's a large dump there. There's the USD Circle stablecoin and Solana. And I believe the iShares, I believe this is BlackRock's offering. So BlackRock's BTF, I'll confirm later, but let's just say that's BlackRock. So BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF is sitting at 80 something billion dollars, which would be right behind Solana in total investments, in total investment dollars. That is huge. But also keep in mind, those aren't directly in the market. Those are money inflowing to buy the ETF. BlackRock is then buying the underlying asset, and then there are fees in there as well. So it's not a directly one-to-one value there. But I just wanted to point that out because ETFs, I think, are going to be what brings in most non-crypto native people who don't want to even open a Coinbase, a crypto.com, a Binance account. They're scared of crypto. They don't want to touch it, but they want exposure. These offerings allow people with their 401ks, their traditional stock buying options. These solutions give those people exposure to the crypto market. And then the institution will then go and buy more crypto directly themselves. So it will have a trickle down effect. And I think that is exciting for the potential price appreciation, this cycle, what the total market could be. If we have just look at some of the numbers. We have 85 billion, 15 billion. And right now, Bitcoin is something $2.3 trillion, and we are in September. The market is getting ready to take off as the Fed Reserve releases their, their Fed rate crap and all of the speculation that comes with that, all of the geopolitical stuff coming on with inflation. My speculation is people are I'm not saying they are going to, I'm saying it's already happening and being kept on the low. And all of the money, the inflation, people are going to run to assets that can't be printed out of thin air. So gold, Bitcoin, that's the speculation. Rare assets or assets with a finite amount of money. And again, that's why I don't like XRP, because they have a ton of outstanding XRP tokens that aren't in the market yet that they can use to suppress the price. Bitcoin, on the other hand, will act as sort of like a hedge, like a digital gold. And people have been barking that Bitcoin isn't a hard asset because you can't hold it. I think that's an oversimplification of the understanding of what a hard asset is. You logically own it, just like you logically own a building that you pay taxes on. But we won't get into that. I just wanted to speak to some of these options that we have and some of the narratives that is going to grow the ecosystem. And I'm really excited about it. I'm going to be releasing some more videos that get into more traditional speculative plays. And I look forward to seeing you on the next video.